Prosecutors agreed to try the defendants separately. Pruitt's trial was set for January 16, 2001. But 3 weeks before, on December 27th, he stunned everyone by pleading guilty to first-degree murder and aggravated arson. At his sentencing, he remained a mystery.
Joe Pruitt stood up in front of the judge and said he was guilty of the crimes he was charged with. That's the only admission he ever made. He didn't say how, why, what, none of that.
49-year-old Pruitt was sentenced to life. He will be eligible for parole when he's 100. His plea agreement stated that all charges be dropped against Marie.
I was shocked to learn about that. Joe had shown her no concern throughout this whole process. He had not given her an explanation. He was completely oblivious whenever she was charged. He didn't care that she had been charged with Class A felonies, that she might go to prison too. He just didn't care, and he didn't offer her any further explanation. He just stuck by his story that he didn't remember.
Although relieved, Marie is still angry.
It upsets me that those, that me being cleared was in the plea bargain, and that it doesn't have anything to do with me being charged wrongly.
Since his sentencing, Pruitt has filed for a divorce, and Marie and their 2 sons are struggling to survive.
Marie has become destitute over this matter. He has some veterans benefits that help Marie live day to day. When that divorce goes through, benefits that Marie is receiving as a spouse will cease.
He destroyed our lives. We just stayed in the house for basically 2 years. Jared, he's kind of confused. He still really doesn't understand what happened. He was 7 when it happened. Joseph was a little older, and last year was his first year back in school, in regular school. He was homeschooled. He was 14 when it happened, and he was popular and outgoing and good in sports, and he's just kind of like me, shut himself off.
Only a week after Pruitt's plea, Canada decided to plead guilty to second-degree murder and aggravated arson.
The reason I'm here and the reason I took a plea bargain was because I didn't have a choice in it either. I did what I had to do. I was given alternatives, and I had the alternative of life in prison with parole, life in prison without parole, or the death penalty if I would have went on to trial. Or I could take this plea bargain. If I would have had $100,000 or $200,000 to pay attorneys, I would have been here today for what I'm guilty of. I'm here because I'm poor and not real educated about the law and everything.
It was clear to us that Bobby Canada was the helper and that Joe Pruitt was the mastermind and was the motivator behind this crime.
Had we had definite proof that Bobby Canada had been the trigger man, then certainly we would have held out for a much stiffer punishment in his case.
Canada is serving 25 years and is eligible for parole when he's 59. Despite his sentence, he is grateful for one thing.
I'm off drugs and alcohol now, and I feel a lot better. I attend church every chance I get to hear about Jesus.
But Charlie Bryant's family feels Canada got off too easy.
I think he should have got the same thing that Pruitt got, because he was just as deeply involved.
Death is the only thing that would suit. They ought to get exactly what they've done to my son.
On January 16, 1999, the remains of Charlie Bryant were moved from Stinking Creek, Tennessee, where he had been buried under the name Joseph Pruitt, to his home in Williamsburg, Kentucky.
We're getting as nice a burial as we could.
And although Pruitt will spend the rest of his life in prison, prosecutors know he came very close to getting away with murder and collecting the insurance money. But they say he helped in his own demise.
Had he went to Oregon and stayed for a year and got the money sent somewhere and let everything die down, he'd had a much better chance of making this work.
But he overplayed his hand. He overreached, so his motivation was greed, the oldest motivation known to man.
A pushy mother was determined her little darling was going to make it into the high school cheerleading team, but how far was she prepared to go? Creme Central reveals the horrifying truth next.